Another day, another round of severe storms. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We have a severe thunderstorm headed toward DIA that may impact flights in and out of the airport within the hour. Severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Weld County until 6:30. This storm is located near Meade, 18 miles southwest of Greeley, moving quickly southeast. Has a history of ping-pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Spotters have reported half-dollar-sized hail with that cell. Denver not included in the severe thunderstorm watch, which extends from Castle Rock down through Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Flagler, a severe warned storm in Kit Carson County until 6:30, and also a warned storm in Custer County in the town of Westcliff. Once the upper air disturbance moves through, we're on our way to a warming and drying trend. Our high at 88, just shy of the average, but lots of moisture. The atmosphere very unstable, and once this wave moves through, we'll start to see high pressure kind of take charge of our weather, and that's going to cut off the flow of moisture. But not tonight. Active storms on the plains that'll go late into the night, and tomorrow only isolated gusty storms to worry about. Still the chance of a shower or rumble of thunder in the city. Our low 58, 86 tomorrow with a couple of storms in the foothills, and then sunshine will get us back into the 90s by the time we hit the weekend.
Before the JonBenet Ramsey killing, it was the Bennett family murders in Aurora that captured Colorado's attention for years. An unsolved hammer attack on a family in 1984. About halfway through the 3 decades since, investigators indicted a DNA profile, a profile without a suspect name to go along with it. Now, Kevin Vaughn from our 9 Wants to Know team has learned Aurora Police finally have their possible suspect. They didn't sleep on this case. Neither did science.
It was January 1984, the dead of winter. A madman was preying on the metro area. 4 attacks in 12 days.
I heard Kim screaming, wake up, there's some man trying to hit us with a hammer.
A couple assaulted as they slept. A brutal rape. A woman raped and beaten to death with a hammer in Lakewood. And then, the attack that decimated a family. Bruce and Deborah Bennett and their daughter Melissa, beaten to death with a hammer. Their younger daughter, Vanessa, horribly injured and left for dead, and loved ones grappling for answers.
Please help find these people so nobody else has to go through this.
Now 9 Wants to Know has learned that police have identified a potential suspect, an inmate in prison in another state. This afternoon I spoke with Constance Bennett, who found the bodies of her son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughters.
It's been my hope that before I die that I can take a look at whoever this monster is, and I don't want to know why, because there's no good in why, but I'd like to know who. So I'm hoping to find out something.
We're continuing to receive telephone tips. We're following up all these leads.
Police have worked this case for 34 years. This afternoon, investigators and prosecutors from multiple agencies met to discuss the next steps in this case. We should note that years ago, police used DNA to link the murders of the Bennetts with the killing of Patricia Smith in Lakewood. The question now is whether investigators have enough evidence to actually file charges, something we may find out Friday, Kyle, when they have a press conference planned.
They set the stage for this moment so long ago, before the science that we're talking about here even really existed.
Yeah, this is about investigators that way back in 1984 did a really good job of preserving evidence, and the advances in technology since then that allowed them to now look at that evidence in ways that couldn't even be imagined then.
As much as this case has us looking back, this case also makes me look forward to wonder what advances will there be on cold cases from 5, 10 years ago, and you know that there are dogged investigators who are keeping watch over these.
If you look at DNA just in the last 20 years, you've gone from needing a big spot you could see with the naked eye to being able to get it from a couple of skin cells you cannot even see with a microscope.
All right. Interesting break in the case today. Kevin, thank you very much. We'll look for that press conference on Friday. Colorado's booming economy is echoing through school bus garages as districts have trouble finding drivers in time for the school year. You can't just pile kids 3 deep on these bus seats, so schools are now forced into other solutions. One district flatly told parents that kids who can't fit on the limited buses they have will just have to wait until the driver unloads and then comes back for them. Our Marshall Zellinger has the story.
If school districts share one thing in common, it's this banner, the We Need Bus Drivers banner.
Ideally, we would fill 4 more positions.
In Weld County School District RE3J, which covers Hudson, Keensburg, Loch Bowie, and Roggen, there could be a problem for the 300-plus students who attend Weld Central Middle and High School, but pick up their bus at Loch Bowie Elementary. Parents just got this email warning that if the 5 buses that get sent there are full, students must wait for the buses to return, a 40-plus minute round trip.
Do you think if students were told we're out of space, you got to wait here till we come back, that those students will actually wait?
With the support of their parents, I believe that they would wait, yes.
Superintendent Greg Rabenhorst hopes this is a last resort, but won't know for certain until students go back to school 1 week from tomorrow.
We also have a plan in place where we would have smaller buses that don't require CDL drivers to pick up students.
The driver shortage is not unique to Weld County. I called a handful of school districts. Jeffco, the state's largest, needs 18 drivers. Greeley-Evans last year cut routes because that district was short 16 drivers. What is unique to rural areas like Weld County RE3J is why there is a driver shortage.
We compete with the oil and gas fields who require CDL drivers as well, and being a public entity like we are as a school district, we just can't compete with the rates that the private sector can pay for those positions. Sometimes we get drivers who get their CDL through our training program and then they might leave for a better paying job in the private sector.
Not cool. It's about 15 miles from Loch Bowie Elementary to Weld Central Middle and High School, so if you're wondering, walking isn't going to be an option. The district won't know until the first day if students outnumber the buses. The superintendent told me he's hoping for more than 4 drivers, so not only can kids ride the bus, Kyle, they can do so comfortably.
Yeah, that would be nice. And did I hear this correctly? Come over here and talk to me, please.
Yeah, I haven't done this in a while.
Did I hear you correctly that they will come and they will take the school bus driving training and then just be like, peace out, Cub Scouts, and go work for more money somewhere else?
He can't pinpoint that that's their intent, but they have had people take the free training and then go get a higher paying job somewhere else.
Oh, if you do that to us, I'm going to be so mad. All right, thank you, Marshall. We do not have good news to report for you on the case of the missing 7-year-old out of Montbello. Jordan Vong now hasn't been seen in more than 24 hours. Denver police still tell us this case does not meet their criteria for an Amber Alert, although we've seen some increasingly flexible standards in recent years of when investigators will send out one of those public alerts, but not one for 7-year-old Jordan. The FBI has been out there today as neighbors near Chambers and Bollinger are questioned, asked whether they ever saw the boy in the T-shirt and the gray sweatpants. Police would not tell us if Jordan's family first noticed him missing or if the call came from someone else in the neighborhood.
When a child does go missing, we will do what we can. We'll ask people if we can look in their trunks. We'll ask people if we can look in their campers just to see, because sometimes the little ones, they sometimes think it's a game of hide and seek.
No, the only history there is of him just being outside his house all the time, you know, playing with the other little kids, but he never goes into the other kids' houses or anything. He's just outside.
We asked Denver police if they believe that Jordan is in immediate danger at this point. We weren't able to get a clear answer from them. There is not enough glass in Colorado Springs to undo what the hail did there yesterday. Hundreds of cars are still too damaged to drive away from the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, so there they sit. The zoo was closed today due to smashed windows and skylights. And glass repair shops tell us that they are running out of supplies to do the repairs.
To the point where we actually couldn't get glass that we normally have on hand from our suppliers and our vendors. They told us that they're out of stock and they've sold approximately out of 60 windshields just for one vehicle that was calling for that windshield.
The zoo has actually gone as far as to have security watch those smashed open vehicles around the clock until all of them can be moved. Bigger they are, the harder they fall. It is true about hailstones, among other things. The hail in the Springs yesterday was baseball-sized and baseball speed. Talking about Major League fastballs of ice. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen shows us the science.
This one weighed 1 pound 15 ounces.
This 8-inch hailstone holds the world record. It fell in Vivian, South Dakota 8 years ago. Dr. Charles Knight had the privilege of measuring and casting it.
It melted partly when I was molding it.
It's one of many large hailstones that Knight has studied over the years, starting with the previous record, the Coffeyville, Kansas stone in 1970.
This is not symmetrical, obviously. The spikes are all on one side.
He calculated the Coffeyville stone probably fell at about 100 miles per hour, so he gave it to a colleague for a real-world test.
He had him dropped out of a helicopter and measured the fall speed, and it was about 100 miles an hour.
Knight says any stone bigger than about 3 inches or a baseball will fall at about 100 miles per hour. That includes those record-breaking 8-inch stones and also the 4-inch hail that fell near Colorado Springs yesterday. Golf ball size hail falls at roughly 50 miles per hour and quarter size about 30 miles per hour. So what's the big deal, right? Nolan Arenado gets hit by 100-mile-an-hour heaters all the time, but we're not exactly comparing apples to apples. The damage potential of a baseball-sized hailstone is a little higher than an actual baseball. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen for Next.
How about that funky looking one? Wasn't that terrifying? A replica of that record hailstone from South Dakota is part of a research collection in Boulder that also includes replicas of the 2 previous record setters. Colorado's drunk driving cases involve one group significantly more than any other. Can you guess? It's young men. Men make up 75% of DUI cases, and men in their 20s, they're 30% of them. The state's out with what it says is the country's first such study of impaired driving cases on the statewide level. The breakdown shows us this. Nearly 38% of defendants in Colorado had prior DUI convictions. Alcohol was by far the most common substance involved, 91.3% of cases. Marijuana, a distant second, 6.2%. According to CDOT, almost a third of Colorado's traffic deaths involve drugs or alcohol. We no longer have that segment asking, is the A-line working today? And it's a shame, because if we did today, we'd tell you it sort of worked. Train got stuck this morning at the Peoria station, mechanical problems. But we no longer check in daily on the train to Disdain because, well, normally it works. And today, some more encouraging news as Denver officially applied to get rid of the train horns on that route, as it promised people living with the noise that they would do long ago. So they filed the paperwork Friday. Decisions now up to federal regulators. Aurora has part of the line as well. It is not quite ready to call for quiet there. Colorado's DMV offices are back up off the mat with one little complication. And we meet Colorado's Karate Kid, who's in the business of putting people on said mat. Next. There is just one Coloradan who is competing in the Junior Pan American Games in Rio later this month. So we can all get together to root for 14-year-old Ian Crumine, who won his way there by going undefeated at the USA National Karate Federation Championships.
My name is Ian Crumine. I am 13 years old, and I started karate when I was 5 years old.
Touch.
And I was really into it, and I've been training almost every day now.
Yeah.
I've gotten very, very good.
Okay, let's go. Hey, center. I've been doing this for 53 years. Clinch, clinch. Ian represents a very small percentage of the athletes that are out there.
It does take a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline to get to that kind of level there.
He's now considered an elite athlete. That label is applied to a very small percentage of athletes. There are not many competitors that reach the elite level.
I'm very excited and looking forward for the future.
Oh, we're very proud of him.
So the tournament I'm going to is in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and it's the Pan American Junior Championships.
Shobu! You'll see just the top competitors in this hemisphere competing at the Junior Pan American Championships.
Yeah, I definitely feel really good. And I accomplished my goal, making the U.S. team. My advice would be to, if you wanted to succeed and get to a high level in karate, you're going to have to stay with it all the way. You can't deviate from your course. As long as you're dedicated and focused, you can definitely make it.
Ian knows how to school them in school as well. He goes to Denver's Hamilton Middle School, where he has a 3.9 GPA. It's a sign that asks people to try a little tenderness in Leadville, specifically those delivering packages to this residence, where the sign says, please keep gate closed at all times. UPS, FedEx, please gently drop packages over the fence. You are saying drop them over the fence, so at that point, whatever happens, happens. Linda Shoemaker says this sign made her smile. Email us the signs that make you smile next at 9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. We'll be right back. This next story is not about some public servant in trouble. This next story is about a public servant doing the right thing like 99% of them do every day and probably never make the news for it. They are, as we love to say, the good ones, and they're almost all good ones. So, you know, DMV offices are back up and running after several days shut down so they could install some new technology. And we got a note from a Next viewer named Donetta Hamra who went to the DMV in Arvada and found 100 people standing in line. The staff was wonderful, she wrote to us. The security guard walked around offering people bottled water and everyone was working extra hard. DMV gets a bad rap, but I thought they were pretty awesome and deserve to get a compliment. Agreed, Danette. DMV says they are currently dealing with a printing problem from the upgrade that's causing some additional delays, but they're hoping to resolve that soon. Golden, you know, is a beer town. Was so long before people like me started sipping IPAs and Rhino and Lodi and such. Golden is not just a beer town, though, and we get that story from our Byron Reed.
This big room will be the new still house.
Keeping a secret is hard for Stephen Gould.
4 270-gallon production stills.
Especially when it comes to his business.
And it's one of the largest lines of any producer in Colorado.
Gould is proprietor and distiller of Golden Moon Distillery.
My wife and I own this company, and you know, we're growing by leaps and bounds, and it's kind of been a wild ride.
We are making our Expedition Gin.
They started the business in Golden 10 years ago, producing spirits like gin and brandy, along with their single malt whiskey, all with the help of local farmers.
A large part of what's driving this is that people want to know where what they eat and drink comes from.
The distillery currently makes 18 different products sold in various major markets in the U.S. and in Europe.
It's somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 distilleries in the United States. There's roughly 90 currently producing distilleries just within the state of Colorado.
So they started an expansion.
So this is our new silo.
To keep up with the demand.
When this project is finished, to, you know, make hundreds of thousands of cases of premium artisan spirits.
They're busy in the foothills crafting cordials and getting attention worldwide.
I hope every day that someone uses my product and has a smile and enjoyment on their face.
For next,
buy your local Colorado spirits and drink responsibly.
I'm Byron Reed.
You know, I know a decent amount about the beer scene. I could rattle off a few facts about Colorado's small but mighty wineries. I had no idea until Byron told me today that Colorado's distillery community is second in size only to Washington State. A Coloradan gets a bit of encouragement during a difficult hike from her young child. That and your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today. Two sisters, ages 6 and 4, just knocking down their first 14er, you know, as kids are bound to do in this state. Ella and her little sister Lana hiked up to the top of Mount Sherman with their parents over the weekend. Their mom tells us the only scary part is when they got to a ridge line and the winds really started to gust, but Lana took her hand and said, "We can do this, Mommy." Yes, they can. We finished tonight with your feedback. Robin Nolet writes in, this is about the disappearance of the 7-year-old Jordan Vong in Montbello. She says, Kyle, why would they not put out an Amber Alert for the boy? What would it hurt? So, Robin, typically law enforcement agencies are looking for some kind of actionable intelligence for the public to respond to, like a license plate of a suspect vehicle or a suspect description. But as I noted a couple times recently, they have put out Amber Alerts without that information. I, for one, think that if we had a consistent standard, that would be helpful. It's clear that many of you still remember that 1984 cold case that Kevin Vaughn was telling us that they have a possible suspect in. The killing of the Bennett family in Aurora. Carrie Sylvie says, we never locked our front door until this happened. Now we never leave it unlocked. Hope this gets solved, as do we, for that grandmother most of all. We'll see you next time.